Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching me from. Come on in, come on in. We are talking about the D4vd hearing, and we are just going to take a look at days 1 to 3 and talk about what was revealed, what is going on. For those people on here that do not know anything about this case, singer D4vd, whose real name is David Anthony Burke, is accused of ending the life and dismembering 14-year-old Celeste Rivers Hernandez. Her remains were discovered in September 2025 inside the front trunk of his Tesla, of a Tesla that's registered to him. Okay, so that's a nutshell. Prosecutors allege Burke had an illegal sexual relationship with Celeste and ended her in April 2025 to prevent her from exposing the illegal sexual relationship. They have also presented DNA evidences, electronic records, and purchases, including chainsaws, body bags as evidence. David has pleaded not guilty, and his lawyers are challenging the investigation and the forensic testing. So a preliminary, oh my God, I can't even talk. A preliminary hearing is underway, has begun. We are on day 3 of that preliminary hearing, and it is to determine whether there is enough evidence for the D4vd to stand trial. So, as it is, no verdict has been reached. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching from. Come on in, come on in. Let me know where you are watching from. And yeah, let's just know where you are watching from. So, what we are going to be looking at now is a detailed fact-checked breakdown of day 1 to 3. I've been trying to cover this case. It's been a while coming, but this time I said I'm going to be on top of it. I'm going to cover it. This case involves a musician who is of age and a young girl, a minor. Okay, so here's a detailed fact check breakdown of days 1 to 3 of the D4vd preliminary hearing, covering July 21st to July 26th, 23rd, which is today. Now, I want us to understand that this is not the trial. Okay, Judge Charlene F. Almedi is deciding whether prosecutors have shown enough probable cause to send D4vd David Anthony Burke to trial. So he has said he has pleaded not guilty, and the allegations against him have not yet been proven beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, let's look at the prosecution's overall case. The LA County District Attorney's Office has alleged that D4vd met Celeste Rivers Hernandez online when she was 11. They also say that their relationship became sexual when Celeste turned 13 and Burke was 18. April 2025, Celeste allegedly became angry about Burke's involvement with other women and threatened to, expose their relationship. Thank you for being here. If you are here, please do like, and share. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys for being here. Okay, so she threatened to expose their relationship. And the prosecutors also alleged that Burke arranged transportation for Celeste to come to his Hollywood home on April 23rd, 2025. They also claimed that he laid in wait and fatally stabbed her shortly after she arrived. They also say that he later dismembered her body, placed her remains in a bag, and stored them in the front trunk of his Tesla. The prosecution also argues that he ended Celeste to protect his music career, worth millions of dollars, to prevent her from serving as a witness concerning the alleged SA. Now, Burke is charged with first degree M, continuous SA of a child under 14, and unlawful mutilation of human remains. Now, the big M count, the more, well, I don't even know how to pronounce it, includes special circumstance allegation involving lying in wait, financial gain, and ending the life of a witness. So the prosecutors have not yet announced whether they will seek the big death penalty. So let's look at day one of the trial. Day one introduced the prosecution's basic timeline: the early missing person investigation, the discovery of Celeste's remains, D4vd's alleged purchases, and the money persecutors say he stands to lose. So what they are trying to say is that, hey, there might be a motive for ending her life. Could it be the money that he stands to lose or whatever? So they played the footage from February 17, 2024, when deputies went to Box Hollywood Hills residence concerning a missing person involving, Celeste. In the footage, the 4VD said he had communicated with Celeste through Discord. That was how they met. He claimed they had met in person only once at that time, as of February 2024, right? He claimed that they had met only once. He said Celeste had told him that she was 18 years of age. Now, deputies show him her yearbook photograph and informed him that she was actually just 13. Now, this evidence is important because prosecutors can argue that whenever the forwarder or whatever he may have initially believed, law enforcement directly informed him of Celeste's real age more than a year before her passing. So that's one. Again, the LAPD homicide detective Joshua Byers testified about being called to the Hollywood tow yard on September 8, 2025. So he says, according to his testimony, the tow yard employee reported a strong odor coming from David's Tesla. Celeste's head and torso were discovered inside a black cadaver bag in the Tesla's front trunk. It also says that the detective also said that her arms and legs were found underneath in another bag. Said the body was severely decomposed and ultimately identified through dental records. And again, the medical examiner determined the cause of passing was multiple penetration injuries caused by an unspecified, object or objects. And then her passing was ruled as a homicide. So the detective also testified about the missing fingers, tattoos that prosecution believed were connected to Celeste and Burke. Celeste had a shoe marking on one of the index fingers, booking photographs that showed that Burke had a similar tattoo along with Celeste tattooed on another finger. Now, the prosecutors displayed crime scene photographs. Celeste's parents, Jesus Rivers and Mercedes Martinez, were warned that the image would be shown and were offered the opportunity to leave. They refused to leave. And report said that Celeste's mother was visibly overwhelmed. That must have been a very, very emotional situation for that woman. Now, Detective Byers also described, you know, online and retail purchase records that prosecutors say were created after Celeste arrived at Buck's home in April 2023. If you can hear me, please like the live stream. If you're here watching, please do a favor and like the live stream, share so that any other person can so that other people can know that we are here, okay? Go ahead and like the live stream, please. Okay. So, um the detective also said that D4vd bought two cadaver bags, three chainsaws, a shovel, a blue inflatable pool, heavy duty laundry bag, fireproof floor mats, a mop and bucket cleaning system, and other cleaning or disposable supplies. So, evidence reportedly show that a shovel was delivered through Postmates on April 2024. Other items were ordered between late April and early May. Let me see if you all can hear me. If you can hear me, please put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Let me test this if it's working. Can you all hear me? Can you hear me? Hello, hello, hello. Is my audio even? I can't even hear myself. What's going on? If you can hear me, put a 1 in the chat. Hello, hello. Mic check, mic check. Okay, I can hear. Hello, hello. All right, so yeah, we are good. Okay, so what was I saying? So those were the things that he bought. He bought the cadaver bag and other cleaning and disposable supplies. And the evidence reportedly showed that a shovel was delivered through Postmates. So the investigator said some purchases were made under the name Trevion Davis and Victoria Mendes. Most of the items were reportedly found in Buck's garage, but one Makita chainsaw, allegedly ordered from Home Depot, was never recovered. Wondering why, how. And on open burn box incinerator purchased late in July was reportedly found behind a piano inside the residence. OMG. Prosecutors argue that the timing and nature of these purchases support their theory that Burke dismembered and attempted to conceal Celeste's remains. The defense has not conceded that these items were used in the crime. So they've not yet said, oh, these items were used in the crime. Please go ahead and give the live stream a like. So let's talk about the inflatable pool. The same detective Byers testified that pieces of the blue plastic were found with or around Celeste's remains. Prosecutors believe Burke used the inflatable pool to contain BLOOD while dismembering the body in the garage. Later, forensic testimony will attempt to connect plastic fragments recovered during the autopsy with cuts in the pool. Digital evidence reportedly showed that an iPhone associated with Buck and the iPhone was named Tranquilizer, last connected with the Tesla July 29, 2025. Prosecutors presented also store receipt, GPS information, and surveillance evidence that they say showed Burke driving the Tesla on that day, parking it near his rented Hollywood Hills home on Bluebird Avenue, leaving the vehicle and walking back towards the residence through an alley. They also saw him departing for a concert tour shortly afterwards. Now, the Tesla remained parked there until it was reported abandoned, towed, and searched in September. So again, we had the Benjamin Gregor, Benjamin Gregor, who was Buck's financial manager. He testified that Buck generated approximately 10 million to 11 million dollars. OMG, let that sink in. Between 2023 to 2025 through music, merchandise, and publishing advances. What? His financial manager also testified that some of Burke's associates began using encrypted messaging applications after Celeste's remains were found, reportedly because they were concerned about media leaks. The fact is not by itself proof that they were concealing any criminal activity. Now, let's look at the defense's day one response. So, the defense focused heavily on the investigation rather than offering a complete alternative account of Celeste's passing. The defense attorney questioned why no formal log documented everyone entering into that house. The defense attorney questioned how many officers and agencies entered the Tesla and residence before criminalists arrived. They also questioned whether everyone handling evidence wore gloves. They also questioned, as the defense also questioned, why the damaged cadaver bag was not preserved in full, why the exterior of the Tesla was not swapped, why chainsaws that tested negative for BLOOD were not preserved or tested for touch DNA. The defense attorneys also questioned whether a blue iPhone found in the residence may have belonged to Celeste or contained data not connected to Buck. Now, the defense's apparent objective was to expose contamination risk, missing testing, and break in evidence handling the procedures. That was all in day one, right? Now let's look at day two. In day two, they two concentrated on three areas: Buck's potential financial motive, Celeste's passports, and forensic evidence from the Tesla and garage. So they were basically asking how much money was at stake. So Ben Gregor, the financial manager, returned to the stand, joined by Louis Poimiru, an Interscope finance executive. Now, their testimony established some facts. Their testimony established that Buck earned at least 10 million from 2023 to 2025. Now, the Interscope financial executive, they said, had already paid more than 6 million for his first two albums and merchandising. Buck repeatedly could have earned another 12 million if his third and fourth albums were successful. Let that sink in. Other reports describe the overall recording arrangement as potentially worth between 13 million and 19 million, depending on the bonuses and future performances. Buck also received or expected and he also received or expected endorsement advances connecting to companies like Crocs, Hollister, and Boss. Interscope ended its relationship with Burke in December 2025 after Celeste's remains were discovered. So the prosecutors argued that Buck personally signed, that D4vd personally signed major contracts and understood that exposure of the alleged relationship between could He understood that the exposure of the alleged relationship could ruin his career. Okay, so the question is, who else? Who else knew Celeste? That was the next thing that they were questioning. The questioning became heated when the prosecutors, Bert Silverman, asked Gregor what he and Burke's management knew about Celeste. So the financial manager, that's the Gregor, also testified that he knew Celeste's first name. He had heard her name from Burke's manager, Rob. Remember Rob? Rob Morgan Roth. He said he had heard that Celeste traveled to London with Burke. Now, Silverman attempted to ask whether management knew Celeste was Burke's girlfriend and whether she traveled with him using false identification. Okay? So the defense attorney objected, he accused the prosecutor of effectively testifying through her questions. So Judge Olmedi, stopped that line of questioning before some questions were answered. Now, this exchange suggested prosecutors may be investigating how much David's professional cycle knew about Celeste's presence and age, but unanswered questions are not evidence, which is as they should look into. Who else knew about this relationship between D4vd and this child? If they knew, then they should be held accountable as well. Okay, so a California Highway Patrol officer also testified that a Caltran worker found Celeste's passport card in tall grass turned near a dirt turned out along Highway 154 in Santa Barbara. So prosecutors allege that Burke traveled to the area to discard of Celeste's belonging. Now, the defense went further to emphasize that the Caltran worker reportedly handed the passport card with bare hands. The card was not dusted for fingerprints. The handling could have affected the forensic value of the evidence. Interesting. Now, at this stage, prosecutors had not presented the full cellular and Tesla location analysis between Burke, to the area that came on day 3. So let's look at inside the Tesla. The LAPD criminalist Chelsea Murillo testified that searching the Tesla after Celeste's remain had been removed. She says she described a strong odor consistent with decomposition, maggots, flies, and other insects in or around the front trunk. At least 11 air fresheners were placed throughout the vehicle. There were air fresheners in the center console, door, rear area, and near the front trunk. There were red stains in the vehicle that she collected as possible BLOD evidence. Now, the photographs were displayed in court reportedly that shows the stains and all of that. Now, the defense asked why investigators did not swab the Tesla's exterior or conduct more extensive touch DNA. Okay, that was what the defense, asked. But then the LAPD criminalist Chelsea Murillo said testing the exterior did not appear necessary at the time. Okay, so another LAPD criminalist, Lauren Wallace, testified about searching Burke's Hollywood Hills home. She said investigators found possible BLOD evidence on black rubber garage mats, the brick floor beneath the mats, a rowing machine, a green tarp, a Tesla charging plug or cable. She also saw BLOD evidence on garbage bags, cleaning wipes and fabric and all of that. And she used blue star, a luminol type chemical that glows when it reacts with some certain substances that are associated with BLOD. So the photograph of all of those things were also shown. However, blue star, they say, is a presumptive test, not a final DNA identification, and substance such as bleach can sometimes produce a reaction. So DNA testimony connecting the stains to Celeste, which was on day 3. Wallace also described, she described linear cuts or slits in the rubber mats. She described cuts in the blue inflatable pool, a dryer sheet rolled or folded inside the pool. She also talked about an order suggesting the pool had been cleaned, presumptive positive reaction on parts of the pool. Now let's move on to day 3, which is today, July 23rd. On day 3, we had some prosecution's strongest publicly disclosed evidence. They talked about a physical match involving the pool, location, the location data, and the DNA profiles were connected to Celeste. The LAPD trace analyst Lisa Lahendro, she testified that the inflatable pool had both straight and scallop cuts that appeared to have been made with a sharp object or tool. She also examined fragments recovered during the autopsy and reportedly concluded that some pieces physically fitted into missing sections of the pool like puzzle pieces. Many fragments were reportedly recovered from Celeste's leggings from her clothing. So the investigators also documented the hair fibers associated with the pool, black foam-like fragrances, shoe impressions on the pool underside, clothing that appeared to have been cut. Now, this does not independently identify who cut the pool, but it supports the prosecution's claim that the pool and Celeste remain were physically connected. So the medical examiner's witness testified that Celeste was identified through dental records. Because of decomposition and dismemberment, the identification process was difficult. According to them, at the examination, she was reported as approximately 5 feet 2 inches tall, weighing 71 pounds, although decomposition can affect postmortem measurement, which is a fact. If you're watching, please like the live stream so that other people can also watch. Okay, so we also have that the LAPD detective William Roeka, who specialized in cellular and technology analysis, presented records associated with 2 devices. So he presented records associated with Burke's cell phone and international cellular line connected to his Tesla. Roeka also testified that the 2 devices traveled together from Burke's Hollywood Hills home to the Santa Barbara County, where Celeste's passport card was later found. So the alleged trips were that April 23rd to 24th of 2025, hours after prosecutors believe that Celeste was ended, both devices traveled towards the Highway 154 area at approximately 12 a.m. Burke's phone allegedly called Celeste's number. The Tesla returned to LA by about 7 a.m. They also say that May 8th to 9th of 2025, both devices were again placed near the rural highway area overnight. We also have that May 31st, 2025, the device returned to the area. Tesla records reportedly showed a stop at an EV charging station before the vehicle returned to LA. Now, this evidence does not directly show what happened at the location, but prosecutors argue that the coordinated cell phone and Tesla movement connects Burke to the location, that's David, to the location where Celeste's passport was discarded. The LAPD DNA criminalist Samantha Tosh also testified that she compared DNA recovered from evidence with a reference profile developed from a sample token from Celeste. Then they did a cheek swap reference sample that was also taken from a D4vd. Okay. So, according to the testimony, DNA consistent with Celeste was recovered from stains on and around the Tesla's front trunk and lower storage area, a black rubber mat in the garage, a rowing machine, a Tesla charging plug, and cleaning wipes found inside a garbage bag. They are saying that the DNA was consistent with Celeste. So Tosh testified also, that's the LAPD DNA criminalist. She specified she testified that several profiles were approximately 1 septillion times more likely to have come from Celeste than from an unrelated person. A septillion is a one followed by, when you have 24 zero, 1 by 24 zeros. That's a lot. Testing of the outer garbage bag produced a mixture involving 4 contributors, at least 2 of them male. Ooh, we are getting there. Testing of the outer garbage bag produced a mixture involving 4 contributors, at least 2 of them male. Tosh testified that Burke or David was among the contributors to the bag. Celeste DNA was reportedly found on cleaning wipes inside the bag, while Burke's DNA was not identified on those wipes. This was significant because the prosecutors had previously claimed Celeste's DNA was found in the garage, but day 3 was when the statistical DNA findings were publicly explained. Okay? So, what did the defense say about the DNA? Defense attorney Blair Beck emphasized that the DNA evidence cannot establish cannot be established. Now, through cross-examination, the defense established that DNA cannot determine exactly when it was deposited. He also said that the DNA alone cannot explain how it reached an object. Tosh could not say with complete certainty that every DNA profile came specifically from blood rather than another type of biological transfer. Okay. So what the defense is doing, they're attacking, they're trying to put hole in what the prosecutors are laying to the table. So Tusk also served as a technical reviewer and contributed to the report, but was not necessarily the primary analyst for the test. So the whole idea is, the defense attorney is trying to poke hole in the prosecutors, whatever the prosecutors have to say. He also said that the chainsaw handles were not swabbed for touch DNA. After the blade tested negative for BLOD, multiple people reportedly lived at the house or used that particular house. Investigators found containers of fake BLOD in the garage, which the defense suggested may have been used in Burke's music videos. Interesting. The case is getting really interesting here. Okay. So, the defense's point was that investigators may have stopped testing too soon and could have missed DNA belonging to another person. Now, Wallace, the lady, responded that the 4vd's DNA would naturally be expected throughout his own residence, although the defense noted that it was not the only one with access to that residence. Okay? So Judge Olmedo also addressed a blogger and a private investigator who were accused of leaking information from inside the courtroom. So remember that PI that was also reporting? He was told to leave the courtroom. So the available, yeah. So as of the end of today, there was no ruling. No ruling has been issued on whether Buck could stand trial. Prosecutors, as at the end of today, had not finished presenting their witnesses. The prosecution had introduced evidence concerning the motive, concerning the digital purchases, the condition and the location of the body, the Tesla, David's garage, Celeste passports, cell location records, and DNA. Okay. Also, the defense had begun building a challenge around possible contamination, incomplete testing, multiple people having access to the residence, and the inability of DNA to establish when or how the material was deposited. And David continued to actually plead not guilty. So he's still in jail. He remains in jail without bail. His lawyers maintained that he did not end Celeste and was not the cause of her passing. So the most consequential day 3 developments were the reported physical match and all of that. Now, let's now do an analysis of this. What stands out to me most is that this is not a complicated love story. Not at all. It is a child safeguarding story. The court must determine whether the 4vd committed the crimes alleged by prosecutors. He has pleaded not guilty, and a preliminary hearing is not a trial. But we do not have to declare someone guilty. We don't have to declare someone guilty to examine the dangerous pattern surrounding the case. Number one, what I see here is if persecution timeline is accurate, Celeste was 11 when the communication began, and she was 13 when the relationship allegedly became sexual. Children can experience powerful emotions, which is real. They can believe that they are in love, which is true. They may feel matured. They may feel special. They may even feel chosen. But emotional intensity does not create an equal relationship between a child and an older person. An older person may have more experience, mobility, may have more money, may have influence, may have a lot of control over the circumstances. Now, that imbalance makes it much harder for a child to recognize manipulation, to recognize established boundaries, or for the child to live safely. A lot of children in this situation, most of them will feel chosen. Now, feeling chosen is not the same as being protected, especially when an older person gives a child romantic or sexual attention. The responsibility for the boundary rests with the older person, not with the child. In this case, we hear that he said that, oh, he didn't know that she was younger, that he thought she told him she was 18. Really? But the February 2024 body camera footage may be one of the most important parts of the hearing from a safeguarding perspective. Okay? Because David reportedly said that Celeste told him that she was 18, but the deputies have showed him her photograph and informed him that she was only 13. Now, the court will evaluate the evidence and they will tell us what happens afterwards. But from a life coaching standpoint, That encounter represents a clear decision point. You have been informed and you still went ahead. Once an adult or an older person knows that someone is a child, the responsibility, or let me say, the responsible response is to end every romantic or sexual interaction that you have with that child immediately and involve the appropriate adults where necessary. But no, that did not happen. For me, awareness creates responsibility. You cannot continue hiding behind what you originally believed after you have been given the truth. So him saying that claim of false age, the alleged hidden communication, the false age claims, private travels, and fear that the relationship will become public all point to border warning sign of secrecy. Children are sometimes told, people will not understand us. You are mature for your age. Don't tell your parents. They will try to keep us apart. If you love me, you will protect our secrets. That language can make a child feel loyal while isolating them from the people who might protect them. Early love does not require a child to lie. Or let me say healthy love. It does not require a child to lie. It does not require a child to hide or use false identification or protect an adult's reputation. That is not healthy love, in my opinion. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. In my opinion, that is not healthy love. All of these languages, it's just crazy. Also, looking at this case, I want to say power is not only physical strength. Power can come from age and life experience. Power can come from fame and social status. We see how power was used in this case. I mean, D4vd had fame, he had social status. Money is also a form of power. He also gave her these travel opportunities. Oh, you travel with me to the UK. That's to tell you how much power he had over this child. Access, she also had access to adult spaces. There was a professional team around them. And then the power that comes from being able to control the public's narrative. If the alleged relationship occurred, which we are all seeing that it did, Celeste was not meeting Burke from an equal position. She was not meeting the D4vd from an equal position. He reportedly had a growing music career. He had a considerable income and an adult support network. But she, Celeste, was a child. So the person with greater power always carries greater responsibility. D4vd had more power and he carried more responsibility to end that relationship. Okay? I want to look at it from another angle. Let's look at it from reputation, which can become more important than even humanity, like in this case. Prosecutors allege that D4vd ended Celeste because exposure of the relationship could destroy a multi-million-dollar career. That's motive right there. That motive remains an allegation and must be proven. It has to be proven. However, that motive raises an important life lesson. When protecting an image becomes more important than telling the truth, people can begin making crazy decisions, increasingly destructive decisions. Now, the patterns often look like this: a questionable choice that leads to secrecy. Secrecy creates fear of exposure. Fear now produces lies and control, and it also leads to the need to maintain control. So that need to maintain control can escalate. And we see how it's escalated here. Like, oh, I'm going to maintain control of the narrative about me. And in order to do that, I'm going to do this to you. Now, success without character is dangerous. Fame, money, and talent does not create emotional maturity. It does not create accountability. Neither does it bring about integrity. Hello, thank you for being here. At Extra Medical, you said Steve Fisher. What did you mean by Steve Fisher? Let me know what your thoughts are. Explain to us further. Okay, so this is my analysis. This is my take. We see that the hearing raised questions about what people in Burke's personal or professional circle may have known about this relationship. Some of these questions were not answered. So it will be unfair to accuse anyone without evidence. But there is still a valuable lesson here for parents, for managers, for friends, and for other adults. When you notice something is unusual, noticing it is not enough. You must be willing to ask questions. You must be willing to ask follow-up questions. If a child is repeatedly traveling with an older person, disappearing, receiving unexplained gifts, using secret accounts, that child is becoming isolated, we cannot dismiss those signs simply because the older person is famous or simply because the older person is wealthy or respected. No. Status should never silence safeguarding questions, especially when it has to do with a minor. It's easy for people to watch from the outside and ask, where were her parents? But that can become an unfair way of transferring responsibility away from the person accused of causing that harm. Yes, where were her parents? But we need to hold the people that are supposed to be held accountable. The truth is that children can actually hide online relationships. They can use private accounts. They can delete messages and resist parental intervention. People attempting to manipulate children may deliberately create distance between the child and their family. Like in this instance, we see her, she's always running away. The healthier question is not why didn't the family control her? It is how do we create relationships with children in which they can tell us the truth without believing they will be shamed, without believing they will be punished or rejected. Parents need boundaries, but children also need emotional safety. A child who expects only anger may hide danger. A child who expects protection is more likely to ask for help, in my opinion. So we must hold two truths at once. The forensic evidence described during the hearing is deeply, deeply, deeply troubling. At the same time, the defense is entitled to question contamination, evidence handling, DNA limitations, and all that. DNA can connect a person to an object or location without automatically proving when or how it arrived there. Now, again, purchases and location data can support a theory without independently proving every part of it. Being emotionally disturbed by the evidence should not make us abandon due process. We can take the child, we can take child safety seriously while allowing the court to also determine guilt. Now, the pattern this case asks us to recognize is 1, attention, secrecy, unequal power, isolation. All of those things added together equal, vulnerable, not healthy love. And the warning signs include an older person asking a child to keep the relationship secret. I've said all of that. Encouraging a child to lie about their age, giving gifts, all those things, making the child responsible for protecting the older person's secrets, threatening abandonment, exposure or punishment, telling the child that nobody else understands them. For parents and caregivers, we need to talk about online relationship before a crisis happens. We need to teach our children the difference between attention, affection, and genuine safety. We need to know the platform that children use without making every conversation an interrogation. And when children come to you with difficult truths, we need to respond calmly and take disappearance, secrecy, and sudden behavioral changes. We need to take them seriously. When you see these kind of things in your children they are taking off, they are being secretive, and you are seeing sudden behavioral changes, you need to take it seriously. And we need to continue seeking help, even if a child initially defends the person that is, causing the concern. And for any young person watching, an adult asking you to secrecy is a warning sign. Gifts and compliments do not mean that you owe anybody secrecy or that you owe them access to your body. Someone who genuinely cares about you will not ask you to lie about your age. If an adult does not listen, tell another safe adult. You are not responsible for protecting an older person's career or protecting an older person's feeling or reputation. I want you to leave here with one thing today. The person with more power has more responsibility. Children should not be expected to carry adult boundaries. Children should not be expected to carry adult secrets or adult consequences. Standing in your power means teaching young people that attention is not automatically love, secrecy is not loyalty, and being selected is not the same as being protected or respected. It also means creating homes and communities where children can tell the truth before danger escalates, not after tragedy has already occurred. With that being said, that's all I have today for us on this update. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. My name is Femi, and I just wanted to give us I wanted to give us what was revealed from days 1 to 3 on the D4vd hearing. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. I will continue to monitor this case, and if you've ever or if you are a young girl, you are having this kind of an affair with an adult and you need someone to talk to, someone to give you clarity on what you are going through, we have the Yes Life Coaching Woman Stand in Your Power. It also caters to teenage girls. It caters as well to adults. So feel free to book a free discovery call, and we'll talk to you. We'll give you clarity for teenagers, especially teenage girls, minors. My services are free. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Bye.
Take what you learned, walk in your truth, stand in your power.